I'm going to give you some things now that deal with businesses and the concept of ideas being stolen or used. This is business with money involved. The treasure will be money involved also, but I'm talking about people that have actually taken ideas from other companies, taken ideas for companies that were going to be started. You know, the stuff that can have you out at 3 in the morning contemplating putting a bullet through some guy's window. You know, if someone takes your idea, that probably will be edited out. You know what I'm trying to say? You have an idea for a business, and then someone else takes the business. They steal your idea. You want to hear a funny story? I'm not sure how many people know this. I was watching the other day, on Netflix. I decided to watch this new series. It's not that new now, but Lost in Space. And of course, it's based on the old series that when I was a kid was on TV for the first time, Lost in Space, back in the 60s. It was absolutely horrible. I mean, that show back in the 60s, I couldn't even watch it. I never even did watch it. Do you know where that show came from? Interesting fact. Gene Roddenberry was a policeman in L.A. or in California, and on the side he would write scripts, and he wanted to be in show business. He was a very smart man. He came up with the idea of Star Trek. I'm not sure what it was called at the time when it was still an idea, but Hollywood's a very, very duplicitous place. I think George Harrison said of the Beatles, of the music business, someone said when he started making films, George Harrison, started making films, Handmade Films was his film company. Someone asked him how he felt about the movie business. He said it's worse than the music business, and I didn't think it could get more dishonest and duplicitous than the music business. But anyway, what happened was Gene Roddenberry was trying to push this Star Trek idea out in space, traveling through space, etc., etc. And some Hollywood bigwig that he had lunch with or something. So that's a great idea. Why don't you bring that idea up to ABC or NBC or whatever? And I don't know who it was, but push the idea out over lunch or over the table, and we'll decide whether we want to go with it or not. And so he's like, okay. He's new to Hollywood. He's still learning the ropes. So he goes up to this meeting and he meets these big wigs, and they're all sitting around. Give us your idea. So he gives them the idea. Well, we'll think about it. Yeah, it's okay. It's got its good points, got its bad points. We'll think about it. A couple days later, he gets a phone call, not interested. Okay, so he decides he'll go out and he'll still push it around. That became Lost in Space. That concept that he gave them became Lost in Space. They took his idea of Star Trek and they changed it around the way they wanted to do it. And of course, as we all know, he went on to get his Star Trek show on TV, but then they had Lost in Space. And he found out later that in fact, that's exactly where they got the whole idea of the being in outer space, etc. And there's these crew going through outer space. They just turned into a family. They made it a little different, made it more comedic. But took someone's idea and used it. So it's a very old idea of stealing ideas. And it's not against the law. It's ephemeral. It's in the wind. It's kind of like the concept of music appropriation. You've seen these things like Paul Simon. Remember when he came out with Graceland, and all of a sudden in Africa you had African musicians that were upset that he had stolen their ideas. He stole their music. He stole their ideas. And of course these people like Paul Simon and Paul McCartney got accused of it. And other people got it. Well, Paul McCartney got accused of stealing African music when he was doing Band on the Run, and I think he actually made the record in Nigeria, and of course it had nothing to do with African music, but just because he was in Africa he got accused of it. Long and short of it is, that's as far as it went though. People accusing people of stealing their ideas, of stealing their music. You can't steal music. Now, if I took someone's song that was on the radio and recorded it and put it on my website, I've stolen that. And I might have to pay for that if they catch me. Copyright infringement. Big difference between ideas and a website where people are copying your paragraphs, or people are copying an image that you made of your hunt where you were out in the woods. Big difference between ideas and your actual media. It's funny. All right. I'm now reading something. This is funny. This is Crew. Oh, this is something dedicated to starting projects, etc. And one of the big issues that happens with people starting businesses, guess what one of the big issues is that people struggle with? Having their ideas stolen. I mean, there's the talk about in Hollywood where people would meet someone in the back booth of a Chinese restaurant to show them their script because they don't want to show it to them in a meeting room, similar to what happened in Gene Roddenberry. They don't want to give the idea away in front of other people, and they think they found one guy they can trust and get his opinion, etc. People sneaking around in Hollywood with scripts in their trench coats, stealing ideas. Look what they did with Star Trek. We're way off subject though. But what I would do is, and I told someone also this in the other day in a comment. They said you brought up this issue of the $10,000 ring when you were discussing the treasure, and you were talking about how someone found a $10,000 ring in a parking lot, and they figured out that he actually found the ring and didn't turn it in, and so he got busted for theft of lost property. Real case, theft of lost property. He said, but what did that have to do with the treasure chest? That has nothing to do with Forrest Fenn, because Forrest Fenn said he'll give you the treasure. It's not lost. I wrote back and I said I just thought it was an interesting story. It was part of my research. I'm throwing it out there. I don't have any laws dictating how I'm doing these vlogs. You know, I thought it was an interesting story. People might like to know that you can actually be arrested if you pick up something you find and put it in your pocket, never report it. It could come back to bite your ass if someone can prove you found it and kept it, and you could be charged, at least in this one place, I think it was in California, with theft of lost property. Just thought it was interesting, so I put it in there. Here's a quote from a guy named David Silvers, founder of CD Baby, largest seller of independent music online. This is what he had to say, and this gets to the heart of this thing. It's a little different, I understand, but we're talking concepts here. I've already established that if you have a vlog or a blog, basically the only thing you have any rights to are that vlog or blog. Those ideas that you're putting out there for the whole world to see, you don't have any grasp of those. You can't keep those ideas when you put them out there on the internet. We're all out there throwing ideas around about where we think it is. The point is you have to go actually put your damn hands on the thing and take it to Forrest Fenn or do whatever you're going to do with it to get it. Which comes to my next point. This David Silvers, founder of CD Baby, said, the most brilliant idea, there's a quote, the most brilliant idea with no execution is worth $20. The most brilliant idea takes great execution to be worth $20 million. Now, I actually touched on that when I first started doing this today, and I said, it's not worth anything if you don't do it, if you don't follow through. Me sitting at home on my computer thinking about Forrest Fenn and where it is, I actually think I do know where it is. But if I never go out there and get it, zero idea, money-wise, worth nothing. Oh, let me finish this though. And this is where I got the term that I love, idea squatters. He says further, oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't say this, the author says this after that quote. Most brilliant idea with no executions worth $20. Takes a lot of execution to make that idea be worth $20 million. Execution is what makes the greatest difference between successful people and idea squatters. Ramit Sethi, author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, calls it the myth of the great idea. Boy, if that doesn't sum it up for these vloggers who think because they have ideas they're throwing around on the net, they're going to somehow lay claim to the treasure that you or I find. He calls this the myth of the great idea. I love it. He further says success comes from doing, not from a great idea. Right? And that's why I said a while ago, the judge is going to look at you if you say you have claim to this treasure because you had a vlog site and discussed, generally speaking, where it looked like the treasure was found by somebody, where the treasure was found by somebody. The judge is going to say, but you didn't go get it. This other guy went and got it. He gets the treasure. It's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, it's so basic. And you think you just, whatever. Now here's an interesting thing. Here's the concept. Here's what happened when someone thought someone had raised money on a stolen slides. Stolen slides. Silicon Valley serial entrepreneur Steve Blank wrote about his experience of having his startup idea stolen by someone posing as a potential customer. Kind of similar to what I was talking about with Star Trek, right? Hey, come on up. We might want to produce your show. Yeah, we don't really like it, but thanks for giving us the idea. And they take it and they change it just a little bit and they use it and got away with it. The customer, who he then considered a thief, supposedly took a hard copy of his slide deck. I guess this was back in the day of maybe before PowerPoint. What the hell is that? There are more bugs around here. Slapped a different logo on it and raised a seed round, meaning he basically stole this guy's stuff. Literally stole his stuff. Put his name on it. We'll call it a PowerPoint presentation for modern terms. Put his own name on it and went around trying to sell the concept. He did get a bid to start the project. He even scheduled his launch a day before Steve's company could. So do we understand what's happening here? The guy has a concept for a company. He's got it on a PowerPoint presentation. Another guy as a customer comes from, can you show me what you're going to do here? Because I might be interested in buying your product. In the midst of doing this, he somehow gets his hands on the PowerPoint presentation. He then takes the PowerPoint presentation, essentially takes this other guy's idea for his company, puts his own name on it, and then goes out and tries to get people to give him the money to start up the company. He even scheduled his launch a day before Steve's company, the guy he stole it from's company, was going to start. kind of reminds me of the Caesarinis, same kind of mentality, you know. Here's what Steve came to find after he realized the idea wasn't valuable, as he puts it. Our competitor, the guy who had stolen the idea, our competitor was executing on an hypothesis we had developed 9 months ago, and their strategy remained static.